marsh, we would just say it. But so Deepor is roughly 2/3 the size of the Florida Everglades, and it formed first in an oxbow lake on the south banks of the Brahmaputra River, which is where the Deepor Beel is sort of in southwestern Assam. And
where is Assam?
Assam, I'm sorry, thank you. Assam is in northeast India. So if you were to say, if you were to look India and Thailand, and then look at the bay, the sea rather, and then go up from there, you would have Assam would be up into the center where the Brahmaputra River is, just north of Bangladesh, and so south of Madhya Pradesh, and a little bit to the south and west of Meghalaya, northeastern India. We have an expert in Indian geography here too, so you can fill in the blanks there. So if you were to be looking at Assam, for example, here the river comes out of the steppes of the Himalayas, comes down and then discharges into the Gulf. And so you have Assam, then you would have Arunachal Pradesh where the headwaters are, move over here, and you would have Bhutan, and then you would have Nepal. So Assam is just in there. Yeah. I think that was a yes, please.
So when you spoke about, putting in maybe sensor systems that would alert the elephants with light and sound, even though you talk about the size of this, it looks like from the photography that there may be certain passage areas that the elephants are using that you could target. It's
Yes.
like probably not equal all along that distance. So I would think there are probably areas that are more commonly used by the elephants.
Sure, good point.
So
There
you
are.
can target those areas with those types of systems.
Yes, that's where Kali spent his nights, in these areas, so maybe 100 meters or so wide, where most of the elephants would go across when most of them were killed. There, so that would be good too. There are other ways we've worked with some groups to reroute elephants around. You saw the trellis bridge for the railroad to get them to go around, but sometimes it's just really isn't possible. They're fairly determined.
I would think it would be hard to redirect an elephant.
We actually we were working with Operation Eye of the Tiger India on a project, and there were some squatters in the stands, Pakistan, they think, that had settled into an area and taken the area over, and were poisoning or shooting elephants or anything else that were coming across their farm. And the political tension was so great that working with them was not a near-term solution. So we partnered with this group, Operation Eye of the Tiger India, and we built 5 miles, or we had built 5 miles of a heavy pole fence, heavy enough that it would take some work for an elephant to push down. I'm not sure that there's a lot that an elephant can't push down, or a group of them, and then we put a high voltage, low amperage 440 across the top. So this cannot be lethal to an elephant, but if they touch it, they're aware that it's hot. So between those two things, that was good enough to get them to go one direction or the other around this illegal settlement, and then regain their corridor on the other side of it and keep going without harm. It's just an aside. There are stories of where elephants would recognize the control panel or the arrestor, the joint for the hot wire, and would take that box apart and pull the workings out, shut the wire down, pull the wire, and start going over the fence or something like that. So sometimes they're almost too smart for their own good. They're actually brilliant. They're beyond anything we can really think about as far as intelligence, and especially social intelligence, its scope, memory. Communication is highly sophisticated, as much so probably as whales and dolphins. So, yeah, questions? Okay. One thing, how much time do we have?
Yeah, there's some extra time on the padding on the back of
Okay.
this too, so we can do more.
So I wanted to mention one thing that so in the context of human-elephant ecology, elephant-human ecology, that I think, so teaching sustainability, one of the things I hear, and I suspect everyone in this room has heard this from someone, is they've said something to the effect of, I don't even know where to start. The problem is so huge, I don't know what to do with it, how to manage it, where I fit in. Sometimes I just feel like it's hopeless. And so I've been using this model in sustainability psychology, the Fresnel lens. You might know the Fresnel lens. It's a lens system that makes lighthouses possible. And I just happened across this a few years ago, and I thought about the value of it. You know, the Fresnel lens, whether it's the half-meter high system or the 4-meter high system, is this intricate, very intricate composite of lenses in all different angles that make a relatively small light source, you know, capable of being projected 20, 30 miles across the ocean. And so when I wanted to illustrate the comprehensiveness of our problem as well as what I refer to as our greatest opportunity, I asked them to think about, show them a picture, we don't have a picture here, but of a Fresnel lens. And I just say, think about 2 things that you're most passionate about. Just 2 of all the things you care about. You know, you run the gamut of people that were interested in holistic sustainability, right? We're interested in so many things, and so many things can rise to the top. What are 2? And imagine these to be your lens to look into the system. Enter the comprehensive problem through your specific care, your passion, your lens. And when you get there, you will realize the inextricable connections of all other passions with it. And so it's just like what I tell them, it's just like the light source within that. Like some of the largest of these lighthouses have only a 400-watt bulb in the building. And when you're looking through, you can see the bulb, hopefully it's off. You can see the bulb through the lens. There's not much there but a bulb, and you see a lot of glass around you. Go inside and look out, and you can see the power of it because you're seeing the system as a whole. And so using our lens to enter the comprehensive problem allows us to look out at our greatest opportunity, because we're bright when we go in, but together as a network or a system, we're brilliant. It's the metaphor. And so for me, it resonates because my entry point, if you will, the lens that I looked through to start thinking about and actually took me towards psychology, sustainability psychology, to develop the field, was elephants. So that's human ecology in a nutshell, or elephant human ecology in a nutshell.
Nice analogy.
It seems to work for people. It certainly worked for me, and I was wondering if it would work for others. And it seems to, yeah.
So you had said something about that elephants could serve as role models for humans.
Mm-hmm.
So what specifically about the
Sure.
elephants?
Well, so I use, like anybody that teaches, I think, or illustrates, I use models a lot to illustrate the Fresnel lens, for example. And often enough, they think, well, what society in this world is actually one that we could emulate, and that would not be perfect, of course, but would be a society that has a functioning, has a social intelligence and so forth, as a high multiple intelligences that we could emulate or at least pattern after. And I tell them it's the elephant society. It's one where the regard for other is extremely high. They manage resources wisely. It's a matriarchal, generally, a society, so a lot of people, sociologists, psychologists, would think that's going to work better for us. We've had a lot of time to try the patriarchal society. I think it's working. And so I give them that model. It isn't perfect, for when the males are moved away and they don't participate generally with the herd as it gets older, but they stay close by. That might be a problem for someone if they think about it, but it is a holistically sustainable society, so it's a good model. Learning about elephant society typically causes people to think more about where they are as an individual in society. So there's an intra and an interpersonal experience that takes place when someone studies elephants, reads about them, asks about them, thinks about how they might be more like one. Thanks for the question.
Some new people came in. I wondered if should we show the video one more time for the new people that just came in.
Will that work? Do we have time?
It's 3:30. It's the scheduled
No
time.
pressure.
It's the scheduled time right now for the video.
Oh, you mean you'd already shown it?
Yeah, we showed it a little early, so I thought for the people that came just to see it at the scheduled time, we might want to re-screen
Okay.
it.
All right.
Is this
So yeah.